Good afternoon. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Mr. Ellington, will you lead us in the flag salute?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Will everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Ellington. At this time, I'd like to see who is present. I'm going to do a roll call vote. Ms. Gutierrez?
I am present.
Mr. Ramirez?
Present.
Ms. Cabrera?
Present.
Ms. Magaña?
Present.
And I'm present as well. Dr. Garland, are there any modifications to this afternoon's agenda?
Good evening, Madam President. No modifications to the agenda this evening.
Thank you. I move to approve the agenda as presented. May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote. Ms. Gutierrez?
Aye.
Mr. Ramirez?
Aye.
Ms. Cabrera?
Aye.
Ms. Magaña?
Aye.
And an aye for me as well. That motion is carried. Moving on to public comment. Ms. Copado, do we have any to be read?
Thank you, President Oriva, members of the board, members of the executive cabinet. We do have 4 public comments. And if I may, President Oribe, I'd just like to make a couple of comments concerning the nature of public comment. I'd like to remind folks in the public that this is a special meeting. So typically for special meetings, it's only the matters that are agendized in the agenda that if the subject matter is relating to that, then that can be discussed. If it's a subject matter that is outside what has been agendized, is not appropriate to be discussing in a special meeting. Secondly, we do have, so in that regard, there is one comment that was submitted discussing the reopening of schools. So because that's off topic of today's special agenda, that will not be discussed. Then there's 3 different other public comments. And I don't know the nature of how many comments we have over the telephone. But one of the recommendations that I have, President Uribe, is that I looked into whether we have a board policy or any policies or practice as to when, if there's ever a comment relating to an MUSD employee that is critical, that is negative, that potentially negatively impacts their privacy rights or their reputation, it would be my recommendation that those comments not be read. And so I know it'll be a little bit trickier with the telephone calls because we don't know in advance. And typically in an open session meeting, pre-COVID days, we never have that understanding beforehand. But just from a district perspective, it would be my recommendation that that would take place, that if there's any negative comments that would impact in any employee of MUSD that may harm their privacy rights or their reputation, that we refrain from that. Having said that, the 3 comments, like I said, there were 4 comments. One is about the schools reopening. So because it's off topic, I will not read that into the record. However, the other 3 do discuss an employee, but it's more favorable to the employee and critical of board action. So I have no reason to not read those into the record.
Okay. So, and Mr. Prado, before we continue, can I actually direct legal to work on implementing policies that touch on this subject so that we're consistent moving forward?
Absolutely, President Reven. I will work with, and I will work with your executive cabinet too, with your permission, so that I can get their feedback as well.
Thank you.
Okay. So the first comment is, it says public comment, March 30, 2021. Good evening, members of the Montebello Board and Executive Committee. I feel disappointed by the way I have learned that Dr. Martinez has been fired. As a member of the faculty and the Montebello community, I deserve transparency. The way I learned about this news was from someone that had read it in the Whittier Daily News. Up to this point, I can say that no one from the district has cared enough to let staff, faculty, and community know what is going on. Being blindfolded, I can only feel bad for all of the families in the community who have trusted this district with their children's education. This is a vulnerable time where we have uncertainty of how and when schools will reopen. Is this the right time to fire the superintendent? Question mark. I do not know the reason why he was let go. What I know is that at the time Dr. Martinez started working as a superintendent, there were many discrepancies in the way the district was being run. In order for the district to be efficient, all parties have to work together. It seems like no one knows what is going on. Keep in mind our common goal. We serve our community, our children. Thank you for your time. Yolanda Flores. Public comment board meeting 3/30. Good evening, school board members and members of the cabinet. I am writing in response to the news that Dr. Martinez is being fired. I strongly feel you are making a tremendous mistake. Now is not the time to be firing our leader amid the pandemic and be safe and the safe reopening of our schools. I am both concerned as a fellow teacher and a 20-year resident of Montebello of what the impact the firing of Dr. Martinez will have on safely reopening our schools. Who better than Dr. Martinez to facilitate the safety protocols and plans to reopen? Although I am ready to return to my classroom and teach my students in person, I am also petrified. I have to protect myself and my family. As the school year is half through and the shift is now towards next year, I have to wonder, are we ready? Will we be able to successfully make the transition to in-person learning under these stressful circumstances? Will I be protected? Will my son be safe going to school? Will all our employees, families, and community members be safe? Will the safety protocols work? Will they be followed? Do we have the training to handle these new working conditions? So much uncertainty. Now you plan on acquiring a new superintendent. Not only does that person need to have the expertise on how to effectively run a school district, but more importantly, this person will need to know how to execute the safe reopening of our schools. I tremble at the thought. I have nothing but the utmost respect for Dr. Martinez. I am confident that with his leadership and guidance, we can safely reopen our schools. I urge you to reconsider your position on releasing Dr. Martinez. Sincerely, Sara Aguilar. And the final comment, meeting 3/30/21. Some concerns have pushed me to make a statement to the Montebello School Board. I am concerned about information currently being floated around social media. I am often wary about what I come across through Facebook posts, even though they are coming from so-called community advocates. In the past year, I have witnessed a lot of vitriol being thrown at the school board and Superintendent Martinez. Sadly, I understand that your positions are oftentimes pushed by political pressures, but I hope that the board can continue to make progress and not heed to the pressures of the ill-informed, or worse, of people that may be looking to exploit for some personal gain. As an MUSD parent, I was disheartened at what I have witnessed in school board meetings last year. As an MUSD community member, I want the best for the school district and its students. I want progress to continue, but in a manner that is responsible and that involves dialogue and compromise. I am disappointed that I have witnessed MUSD employees and community members behave in ways that I feel are not conducive as school leaders. My family and I have walked out of board meetings where we have questioned. Those are the employees and leaders that are supposed to guide our children. In these trying times of social advocacy, I believe there is a difference between passion and rage. Passion motivates us toward progress through positive interactions, while rage can lead us to misinformation and toxic environments. I want to address the board and thank them for considering the safety of our students. The pandemic has brought uncertainty, but MUSD has helped the community students to continue their education. Students were provided devices, hotspots, even desks. Personally, I am content with the education that my child has received and that I have been able to keep my child safe. Although the ideal place to learn is inside a classroom, the risks of the pandemic are not worth the life of any student or employee. I do hope that MUSD continues with safety in mind. On today's agenda, there are two matters that will be discussed: public employee discipline/dismissal/release, as well as a public employee appointment. I have come across social media posts that says Superintendent Martinez has been released. If true, this is disappointing, as I believe that Dr. Martinez was doing a good job with what he was handed. He was appointed during very troubling times that he did not create, but there's always a scapegoat to be blamed. I know how difficult it is to lead and be part of the school board, especially during trying times. No matter what changes are ahead of MUSD, I hope that the board will continue to be independent and work diligently for the best of our community. Many do not see it, but we have gained stability under Dr. Martinez's leadership, and let's hope we can continue as we move forward. Blanca Hernandez, MUSD parent. And that concludes the written public comments.
Thank you. Dr. Yuan, do we have any phone calls?
Yes, we have one. So give me a moment. This person is Rana Quintero Sanchez. The topic is the interim superintendent. So give me a moment. All right, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you so much. Hello to all. My name is Veronica Quintero Sanchez. I have been an employee of the district for 23 and a half years, parent of 6 that provided ADA to this district. I also need transparency. I also found out through social media that Dr. Martinez was being released. I have been through all the seasons of the district. The board members come and go. Administrators come and go, but we employees and parents are still there. Board, I ask you, please be careful what you do. Dr. Martinez inherited something from another person that shouldn't have been there in the first place, and he's doing the best he can. I am an employee, as I said. I have worked through hostile environments, delicate situations. I've asked for help many times. I know politics get involved, but now it's time to think about the children and the families. That is my priority, and it's always been my priority. Through the years, I've asked district members to please meet with me in personal, face-to-face, in private, because I don't want to bring up everything that I know. And not once has one ever contacted me, with the exception of one that asked me to lay low for the board meetings. That's the reason that I haven't been attending for the past 2 years. But I was an attendance officer back when both Lindsay and Michael Barrios were there, and we had 97, 98% attendance rate. I think you need to consult with them and train the people of student services, because the person that was there before changed the policy, and that policy that he inherited into the district is not working. Like I said, my priority is the children. I'm the #1 team mom at all the schools, and I would like for my district, which I was very proud of, to continue or start being what it used to be. That's all I have to say. Dr. Martinez, I always said I'm with you, and I'm still with you because I know what you came into. I've been part of that, and not in a voluntary way, but please open your eyes and speak to people that really know who is and what's going on. Start by student services. I know we have Dr. Garland and Martin that are rather new. I have not had the privilege of working as much as I would like to, because my district broke me down, but I'm here for the long run, and I would like to be proud of Montebello Unified School District once again. Unfortunately, I had to take my kids out of the district to provide a better education for them, but me as an employee, I stayed in the district to provide.
All right, thank you. 3 minutes are up. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then we also have one more phone call from David Navarre, and the topic is the process for hiring new employees. So give me a moment while I reach out to him. All right, you got 3 minutes.
Got it.
Go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon. This is David Navarre, teacher at Winter Gardens Elementary and an executive board member of the Montebello Teachers Association. I'm here to urge you for your transparency and urge you to follow an inclusive, collaborative, and thoughtful process in selecting the leadership of this district. Montebello is a great school district that has a lot of very dedicated staff members. We need to ensure that in all matters discussed and decided, that all stakeholders' voices are at the table. Our teachers are critical in the success of this organization, and therefore we need to be at the table for important decisions. Our teachers are here for our students and our families. Transparency is a remarkably good leadership quality. All stakeholders need to be at the table for the upcoming process. We need our parent voices, our student voices, our community voices, our labor partner voices, our administrator voices, and of course, our teacher voices at the table. Transparency, again, is a good leadership quality. Thank you for your time.
And that concludes the phone-in public comments.
Thank you, Dr. Ewan. With that, I move to recess into closed session. May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote. Ms. Gutierrez?
Aye.
Mr. Ramirez?
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Cabrera?
Aye.
Ms. Magaña?
Aye.
And an aye from me as well. That motion is carried. We will now recess into closed session. I'm going to give legal counsel a minute. I believe she's having technical difficulties. Okay. 5:24, I would like to reconvene this meeting. At this time, I'd like to see who is present. Ms. Gutierrez.
Aye.
Mr. Ramirez.
Aye.
Ms. Cabrera.
Aye.
Ms. Magaña.
Aye.
And I'm present as well. Legal counsel, can you please provide a closed session report out?
Yes, thank you, President Uribe, members of the board. At 4:52, we convened to closed session. Present in closed session were board members Gutierrez, Ramirez, Cabrera, Magaña, and President Uribe. Momentarily, also Mr. Costello was in closed session, but immediately excused himself thereafter. With regards to item A in the closed session agenda, legal counsel provided a briefing to members of the board. No final action was taken, nothing further to report. As to item B, as listed in the closed session agenda, members of the board had a discussion in closed session. A motion was made and final action was taken. And if you can bear with me, the motion was, and it was passed by a 4-1 vote. The motion was to appoint Mark Scavarna as the interim superintendent of schools. And the direction was for legal counsel to engage Mr. Scavarna in negotiations for an employment agreement for future board review and consideration. And the vote was 4-0 with board member Gutierrez, Magaña, Uribe, and Cabrera voting yes, with board member Ramirez abstaining from the vote. Closed session discussions concluded at 5:20 p.m. and that concludes my report.
Thank you, legal counsel. With that, I move to adjourn tonight's meeting. May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, Ms. Gutierrez,
Aye.
Mr. Ramirez,
Aye.
Vera,
Aye.
Ms. Magaña,
Aye.
and an aye for me as well. We will now adjourn tonight's meeting. Good night, everyone.
Have a good night, everybody.